Now, if you remember very well, many of you, you'll know that sometime last week I did a video where we were discussing why right now it is the best opportunity for South Africans to be looking at buying overseas or the US based assets because of the strong rand. I mean, the rand has been strengthening or has been growing its strength to the dollars, and this is a golden opportunity that we might not see anymore, because what we've been seeing, of course, if you look into the ZAR to USD for the longest period, the trend has always been up and favoring the US dollars, right? And I mean, I remember back in 2010 when I was still in varsity, I was checking the exchange rate, and around those years the rand to the dollar was 7 rand and 5 cents. 15 years later, we are seeing the rand is at 17 rands and 26 cents. That is the current, I think, exchange rate as I'm doing this video. And this shows you that had you bought assets back then, or just take maybe at least your money or South African money to the US, you would have doubled the returns on your money, just the fact of taking your money to buying US assets. But I'm not saying that is what is going to happen with the rand right now, where you are going to double your money. But all I'm saying is that there is opportunity here. I mean, even big investors will tell you that, of course, when a currency or a national currency strengthens against the dollar, that is the most favorable conditions for you to accumulate US dollar based assets, because when your currency gets weaker, like our very own, I think at some point it will get weaker, right, due to politics and all of those things. But when it gets weaker and you have accumulated assets, I can tell you now, it's going to be a very good thing. You would thank yourself why you took the stronger rand and go and make a purchase of the US based assets. I mean, you will notice that beginning of this year it started over 19 rands. It even went to almost 20 rands, as you will notice on that as you would notice on the screen. But the 52-week high and the 52-week low of the rand, there was a point in time that the lowest South African rand went in the last 52 weeks, or in the last year, it's 14 rands 86. You can see that it happened so fast and it retraced back. The highest, it's 19 rands and 93, but now 17 rands and 24. I'm telling you, it might be the last chance for you to take your assets into the US, because there were some analysts that were expecting the ZAR to go to over 20 rands, which, had that happened, it was going to be extremely difficult for you and me to buy either products from the US, you and me from investing into assets that need our currency to be converted to the US dollars. It was going to be, things were going to be so expensive for us, right? We don't want to see that. But if you have assets that you bought during the era where the rand was very strong to the US dollar, then in as much as you will also be complaining with the other people, the fact that maybe you can't buy product, or the prices that you're buying the products in the US, it's just so ridiculous. But you would be rejoicing on the other side, or on the other hand, because you know you would have accumulated assets, and your assets would not be growing in terms of valuation, but your money, just the fact that it's a US dollar or it's based on US dollars, it will be growing also, just because of that, which, like I said, it's a very good thing, right? In January, if you were told by September, October, South African rand was going to go to 17 rands to the dollar, I don't think people would agree, right? Because of the way we were seeing the exchange rate between the two currencies going beginning of this year, which, like I said, it's very interesting. When it comes to assets to buy, like I said, you can buy US based shares, right? I mean, the iPhone that probably some of you are using watching this, the Coca-Cola that some of you are drinking on a daily basis or almost on a daily basis, those companies are all listed in the stock exchange, in the US stock exchange. And instead of just buying their products, you can also own their shares. You can transfer your money into the US and buy their shares. There are so many local platforms that can help you do that. There are so many brokerage that are here in South Africa right now that are making it easier for South Africans to invest in companies listed in the New York Stock Exchange. And this is a great opportunity. This is honestly something that you need to take advantage of, especially during this time when the South African rand is stronger to the dollar, right? You need to take your money, transfer it that side, because let's face it, man, if 100 US dollars right now, it's equivalent to 1,720. But in March, that very same $100 it was equivalent to around 1,980. So this is why it's important that right now you take an opportunity and just take some of your money out there, man. Even if you don't want to buy shares, last video I did also highlight the fact that you can have a look at platforms like PayPal, because with PayPal you are just taking your money in US dollars, right? And obviously when you bring back your money during that time or the period where maybe the South African rand it's weaker to the dollar, then you are getting your money back at least with good interest. The difference between the currency, where South African currency was trading at to the dollar in beginning of this year versus where it is now, there is a 13% drop. So if the currency, or if South African rand to the dollar goes back to where it was beginning of the year, or maybe towards the end of this year, that's an easy 13% of money you would have generated from just taking your money into a US pocket or into a US account, which is something that is very, very good, and I think you should take it very serious. But anyways, I'm just here I just thought I need to say more about the opportunity that is right in front of us because of a stronger rand. I just thought I need to maybe explain it further, because some of you were asking some of these things, and some of you wanted to know more about these opportunities that are right now there in the US market. I mean, probably even that sneaker that you've wanted to buy, a Nike sneaker, probably now is the right time to buy it. The ones that you were buying outside of the country, it's the right time to buy it, because the South African rand it's quite strong to the US dollar. But anyways, let me leave it here. I'll see you on the next one. That is all from me, and God bless you all.